On this channel, Pegasus Motorcycle Tours and Consulting, I've reviewed nearly every 650 thumper adventure touring motorcycle on the used market today. But no list would be complete without the legendary XR650L by Honda, produced virtually without any changes since 1993. Stay tuned for a complete in-depth review of this motorcycle, along with a review of some of the very tasteful add-ons to make this a more dual sporty adventure touring machine. Zdravo y dobrodošli, bon dia, bem-vindos, servus, willkommen, buenos dias, bienvenidos, and greetings, riders, and welcome to another adventure touring thumper review by yours truly, Nick here, Pegasus Motorcycle Tours and Consulting. I just got done with the training session with one of my clients, and I decided to finally review my very own 2013 Honda XR650L, an amazing, legendary dual sporter from Honda that's been in production since 1993, virtually unchanged. What that tells you is that it works. People buy it. Even on the used market, it sells for a lot because it's a great motorcycle. So in 1993, the story goes, Honda took a very proven 650 thumper, 644cc, around 39 cubic inches of powerhouse that was proven in reliability and performance, and put it in the chassis of the also very famous Honda XR600R. In the United States, this is not a road legal motorcycle, no blinkers and such, but it's a very lightweight, very capable bike that actually has some more desirable features than this one. We'll talk about that later when we talk about the upgrades. But the 650L, the street legal version in Honda's line of dual sporters, has just been a phenomenal success for Honda. Great performer, great capable dirt bike, which this still really is. It's a very big dirt bike, but also tipping the scales at only 349 pounds, like 160 kilos. So for my taste, that's really light for an adventure touring capable motorcycle. Dirt bikes, riders are going to argue that's a heavy dirt bike. It is for dirt bike standards, but this is a highway capable machine that you could take around the world tomorrow, for example. So it's a really, really great motorcycle in that regard, that it's very versatile. You can use it as a commuter, gets, great gas mileage in its 2.8 gallon, 11 liter gas tank, which is on the smaller side. It still gets 55 or so miles a gallon. So you can use it as a commuter, you can use it as an adventure tourer, you can use it as a dirt bike on the weekend, and it's light enough to tow with any vehicle. You have a motorcycle that you can take on adventures with your family, just a weekend camping trips. If you don't want to ride out to the desert, the 2-3 hours it takes, strap it on your vehicle, and there you have a dirt-oriented motorcycle that's also able to hit the highway, go to the store if need be. You have over a foot of travel in the front, powered by a 43, I believe, millimeter Showa system that's also air powered, and in the rear you have Showa suspension as well. That's I don't know, you got over 20 clicks of adjustments in the rear, in the front something like 16. So it's very, very versatile, and that's why it sells. Even in the used markets, these are rarely under 5, so it's really impressive. Of course, this goes head to head with the DR650S, the motorcycle I've reviewed. If you recall, I sold that motorcycle to my friend Gene. Well, he became a friend after I sold him the motorcycle, and he took it down through Latin America. He's in Colombia or somewhere now. I don't know what Gene is doing, but he's having a good time. And a very direct competitor to that. But regarding performance, this really reacts more like the DRZ. So the smaller, more dirt-oriented brother of the Suzuki line. Kawasaki doesn't really produce anything that's quite in this class. Of course, the KLR, much bigger, bulkier, heavier, etc. So at 350 pounds, 160 kilos, this thing just rips. I mean, you have 11.6 inches in the front, something like 11 in the rear, and 13 inches of ground travel, more than a foot. It's so impressive. Let's talk about the suspension first. The suspension is powered in the front with the 43 millimeter Showa system that's air powered. Basically, you can put air in it from the forks here up top. Gives you a little little valve that you can utilize just a regular standard pump to pressurize the system, and gives you another 16 clicks of adjustment. The rear is also a Showa and gives you another 20 clicks of adjustment. So really customizable suspension and really pliable. You can just rip through the dirt on this bike, or I can in any case, much faster than I normally want to go on anything else, including the DR. So very capable bike, and with the 13 inches of ground clearance, you're not really worried about smashing it against anything on the ground. That comes with a problem though in the seat height. The seat height is at 37 inches. Super tall. I'm 5'8". I'm nowhere near flat-footed, never comfortable on the bike in that regard, and it's just very tall. That's how far I am from being flat-footed on both sides. So it's definitely for taller riders. I believe it's similar with the DRZ400 as well, very tall motorcycle. It comes stock with a smaller 2.8 11 liter gas tank, and that's just not enough for any kind of serious adventure touring. So you have to upgrade. Here I have an Acerbic, whatever you decide to call it, tank. It has 2 petcogs on both sides, so I can suck the fuel from the bottom of each side, since they don't really communicate. And it does a great job. I mean, range is never an issue because of the great gas mileage that it gets. In that regard, the bike is just really great. Another awesome feature about this motorcycle that very few other motorcycles share, DRZ400 is an exception, a lot of Aprilia is an exception, is the dry sump. So because this is a dry sump lubrication system, there is no sump or oil pan in the bottom collecting the oil. The oil is held in the frame of the motorcycle. That's where you fill it, actually, right in front of the gas tank. And what that does is that allows the engine to be dropped lower. Many benefits. For example, it drops the engine lower, so you have lower center of gravity. There's nothing that can hit the pan that can really cause you a lot of issues there, although it has really great height and protection on that engine particularly. But there's less sloshing of the oil because it's pumped through two different pumps, at minimum 2 different pumps. So it's just a different system. I talk about it when I review my Aprilia Futura. Take a look if you're interested into sport touring motorcycles that are still really futuristic and true to their name. Great motorcycle. Aprilia does that a lot. So the dry sump system. So that's been great. The rear wheel is an 18-inch for that ability to use more options for tires. The front, of course, a 21. The rear is also a quick release, so you can maintain, remove, fix a flat more easily. What I don't like about the front is that you have these forks that really extend quite a bit. They look like 4 inches at least that they extend. So that can tend to catch on things, hit rocks, branches, etc. I'm not sure. It looks strange. It looks a little bit odd to have that really hang down so low. But other than that, I really have quite aggressive Moto Z tire here on both, obviously front and rear, and these are just kind of aggressive, very aggressive. They make the motorcycle definitely dirt oriented. These are the Tractinator Enduro tires, and they're just very knobby and very loud. They whistle when you're going straight. So if you're canyon carving, you just get this annoying whistle, but only when you make the bike come up straight. So it's so annoying, and it's just not comfortable to hear that all day long. Other than that, in dirt, obviously, they do their job. So it all depends what you're looking to get this bike for. So I believe this motorcycle is more suited for somebody who's looking for a very much dirt-oriented but road-capable motorcycle, not so much for adventure touring because of the additional investments that you would have to make in regards to the tank for the range and in regards to air protection, etc., to make this a little more adventure ready. But it's doable if the primacy of your decision making always tends to go towards dirt performance. This takes the cake, honestly, if the height doesn't bother you, because the dirt performance is superior to either of the, well, almost any motorcycle in this particular class. Now I say almost because I'm also the owner of a KTM 625 SXC and the BMW X Challenge 650 GS, just two really phenomenal motorcycles, and in the 350 or under poundage. So with as well with 12 inches of ground clearance and suspension travel. So there are better bikes out there in that regard that also have more power and more amenities. For example, like the BMW has, the switchable ABS, heated grips, etc. And the KTM has a kickstart along with the electric start. So in that regard, they have their own little niches, but this motorcycle is more plebeian in that regard. It's more universal and utilitarian. So, and it's more approachable price-wise as well. Although you can get the other, especially the KTM, for a decent amount. The X Challenge is a little bit harder to find. These are everywhere though, because again, they've been sold since 1993. That's very impressive. My chain fell off.
Your chain fell off?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So I'm gonna have to come walk it.
I come walk to you?
Walk it, see if it's something you can do. Are you stuck?
Like I put it in gear and then when I hit the throttle it doesn't move.
So your chain is off too then, huh?
What?
Is your chain off the sprocket?
Maybe. I'm not really in a good spot.
You're gonna have to turn it around then.
Let's just. Or if you, I mean, if you can punch through it, that would be great too.
No, you got it. Thank you. This is what it's about, man. You're going alone.
Yeah.
What do you think Argentina's like?
Well, I'll probably just not attempt to do this to begin with.
Stay behind, just let's make sure it doesn't roll. Let's try to roll it this way, okay?
Okay.
So one major upgrade, I guess, would be the luggage system. Here I have the Tusk luggage system. I'm a fan of Tusk luggage. I use it in every application, but every motorcycle that I've owned, I've tried to add the Tusk removable luggage carriers, but I marry them to different panniers for various reasons. And I'm gonna need to do that again too, because today, because this motorcycle is so nimble on dirt, I took it quite fast up these hills, and maybe a little too fast for what they were, and combined with another jackass like myself coming the opposite direction in a vehicle way too fast, and we hit. I'm lucky to be standing right now. It's a miracle I didn't destroy my leg, because my luggage is completely destroyed. I hit the vehicle very hard. His partner actually left the ground. That's how fast they were traveling on these dirt roads, so we couldn't avoid each other. So speed there was a problem. Your buddy, man, are you with him?
Yeah.
He's fucking flying.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna get us killed,
so
man.
Sorry about that, yeah.
You're gonna get us killed.
I'm so sorry.
Because this motorcycle allows for that really high rate of speed on dirt. It just soaks everything up. The suspension is always working overtime, but you're always planted. You're solid on the ground. You're never in doubt if you're going to find that grip or not. I didn't even lower the tire pressure when that happened. So speaking of the luggage, then the Tusk carriers now that are bent at the moment, but they provide the additional benefit of supporting the subframe, because they come with a link underneath well, in this case it's an FMF pipe, but underneath the exhaust there's a link to support the whole system here, from here to here, to support also the Tusk top case and the carriers. And I like those a lot. They provide the ability to add any kind of luggage that you want, hard or soft, but they also provide the ability to strengthen that subframe, which is welded, so you couldn't replace any bolts to make it stronger. You would have to re-weld it if it ever breaks under pressure. And the Tusk carriers also allow you to add the stock helmet lock that carries the same key as the vehicle itself. But other than that, and the lighting and the Tusk handguards that I have installed, this bike is really fairly stock, and it does what it needs to do in excellent form. I really appreciate that they made the air filter easy to access. The battery, it just has those really quick to remove bolts that are shared with the DRZ, for example, on the left side of the vehicle. And the battery is, interestingly enough, not underneath the seat, but it's on the left side, kind of behind the luggage, behind the case itself. A little bit high for my taste. There's ways to reposition that. If you wish, you can also look at online forums that take a lot of parts from the XR600R, the off-road only version of this vehicle. And for example, the whole rear lighting can be adopted for this motorcycle to make it more modern, more usable. But again, I have different lighting here for this bike. I have a Baja Designs front with the orange lighting for basically dust and dirt riding down south. And they're super bright. They do the job really well. On the highway, with these particular Moto Z tires, they're very knobby. I'm not a fan of the bike, not only because of the noise that the tires make, but it is a little bit squirrely. It's a little bit wobbly, and never mind on the highway if you get a crosswind or you have to pass a truck or something. There's a lot of that kind of movement because, again, the suspension is very pliable. So for the highway, not so much, but 65 miles an hour all day, no problem. The engine really feels super strong and super reliable. It's like a very big thumper, like a very big 650 single cylinder just punching. Of course, single overhead cam, air-cooled for simplicity. It does interestingly have a 2-to-1 exhaust system or pipe design, so that's kind of neat. But it just feels like a massive engine, actually, much bigger than what it actually is, even though because of its low weight, it's quite a powerful motorcycle. I don't have any issues passing or climbing steep grades. Where I live, the steepest grade we can find that's asphalt is 26 degrees or percent grade, and it climbs that with power to spare. Barely power to spare, but it does have power to spare. Unlike my Himalayan, which you had to shift down from second to first at the top of the mountain. It just wasn't having that power to climb the hill. So in that regard, this bike really is quite capable. Again though, not for me. Not for me just because it's too tall.
Well, it's like listed pretty heavy. I don't know if did I just do a kick up part?
I don't know, you're the man. Make it entertaining though. How tall are you?
5'9".
you yeah. I mean, we're the same height.
I don't know, maybe.
No?
I'm not sure what the best.
Yeah, just use your right leg to hit the bike over on the footpeg. Yeah. Like step on the footpeg with your right leg, like push it down. Yeah. I'll push you, huh?
Yeah. You push me, Dad. Yeah, thanks.
Ridiculous. You got it?
Yeah, good. No,
That's ridiculous. Not for me, just because it's too tall. Too tall, and I don't want to change that. The seat is actually quite comfortable. As uncomfortable looking as that might be, that stock red Honda seat with the grab strap for a passenger is actually not that bad. It's not as bad as my DRZ, for example, if you feel like you're sitting on a log. So in that regard, I can handle the seat. It's been all day today. The lady that I sold my Himalayan to, I was with her today for a training session, and I could really spend the entire day seated. There's no issues. I can manage it. So the seat is a positive surprise in that regard. Quite more comfortable than what I was expecting. But other than that, yeah, the bike has been just phenomenal. I have upgraded footbags as well, but the footbags that come with the motorcycle are sufficient in that regard. These are just a little beefier for more serious dirt riding. But again, motorcycle for those adventure riders who are more oriented towards more challenging dirt. The DR650 is a bike that's very similar in capability, but this motorcycle is definitely more dirt oriented, and by a decent margin, actually. again, I would compare it more to the DRZ 400 when it comes to off-road capability, not so much the power, because this is a more powerful motorcycle. So I can see the appeal and why this has been such a great success. It's 2022 right now, and Honda's still selling this thing. So, but it does have that old school feel still. For example, you don't get the tack, you just get this square speedo that's obviously analog. You don't get any kind of information other than it does tell you that, interestingly enough, that the side stand is down. You get a little orange or yellow S lit up on the dash. There's absolutely no wind protection to speak of, and you get that simple bar, crossbar, and that whole dirt bike feel of the motorcycle, which isn't a bad thing. But if you're looking for something more modern, look elsewhere, because this thing really feels like from the 90s. Vibration is quite manageable. I don't find the vibration problem or problematic, considering how big this motorcycle feels, or the engine of this motorcycle feels. It really feels like a powerful 650 single cylinder, and just by vibration alone, you wouldn't get that feeling, even though I have no rubber on my foot pegs or anything. So I'm not isolated from the vibration. It's just not a problem. All day on this thing, no problem, really. If this bike was a little bit shorter and a little bit better protected when it comes to the air hitting you constantly, if you're trying to live off this machine as an adventure touring rider, then it gets a little tiring. And again, the problem is that you tend to ride it fast. So there you are. I hope that was helpful and informative. If you are a taller rider looking for a very much dirt-oriented adventure touring capable motorcycle that's also good for the everyday use, consider the Honda XR650L. It's budget, it's bulletproof, it's very reliable, and it's got a decent amount of aftermarket accessibility so that you can farkle it out to your heart's desire. Please take a look at my playlist of adventure touring thumpers so that you could see what else is there on the market. The bikes really can be quite different, even though they're in the same class. So with this motorcycle, I'm almost to the completion of that list, so I hope you'll find it also very informative. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Please participate in the conversation, and see you in the next review. I'm off to fly on my sled of the dirt. Cheers. Nick, I'm out.